This week marks 1 month since the New Orleans Saints have last played a football game. And it also means that there are still 7 months to go until they play the next one. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. However, it's important decisions, well, they loom on the near horizon, such as how to play this offseason. Do you spend big with much space to play in the upcoming years? Or do you play it a little tighter and put yourself in the best shape possible for 2027 and 2028? It seems so easy, yet it's super complicated. We'll talk about that along with the beginning of Super Bowl week. Also share a little tip of the frozen cap to Punxsutawney Phil on this Groundhog Day. Good news. There are 6 more weeks of the Dattitude podcast. Okay, well, how about we settle for at least 6 more minutes? I can promise you that's happening, and it happens right now.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? Happy Groundhog Day to everyone except UBN. He is not thrilled about Groundhog Day today. We're going to tell you about that in a minute. Look, as soon as I start the show, everything was fine earlier, and now I'm like fuzzing out here. It was complete. Watch me do this on. I don't care. Live TV. Adjustments. Nah, that didn't fix the problem. I don't give a damn. I'm aggravated. It's Monday. I have the right to be aggravated. That's UBN karma coming at me for this Groundhog Day. We got a special treat coming for you in a little bit. What is your present? No, it's not just that this is Dattitude, episode number 471, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, February the 2nd, 2026. We have a short video that I have pulled out of the files. Now, those of you who have known me for a while have probably seen this video before. I'm going to make it a tradition. I've never shown it here on Dattitude, but we're going to do it today. We're going to show you a clip of my now 14-year-old daughter, who was 3 at the time. Yeah, 14 minus 11 is 3. It was 11 years ago. And I don't think I've showed it on the show. If I have, oh well. It's absolutely worth seeing again. And it's my daughter trying to explain what a groundhog is. She calls it the bear ha. And it is literally one of my favorite family videos of all time. So we're going to share it with you in a little bit. In fact, early in the show here probably not before we get to some of the comments. But you know what's special about today and every day? You know, I'm Jim Derry, by the way. If you don't know, you can see that on the screen. Or if you've clicked on the show and you listen to the audio version and you don't know who I am, well, man, you've really gone out on a limb. But I am Jim Derry. And what is special about this show, especially today, is that it is Mano E Monday. Even on the first February of the year, when you think there's nothing we can talk, oh yeah, we can talk about stuff. We're going to talk about plenty today. We're going to talk about Saints cap numbers. I'm going to tell you a little bit about an interesting back and forth I had with Nick Underhill on X last night. It was interesting. And look, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to sit here. It's about the Saints salary cap. I'm not going to sit here. It started with kind of going at someone else, and then Nick got involved. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know more about the salary cap than Nick Underhill knows, because I don't. We have an open invitation to Nick to come on the show. We've reached out to him, and hopefully he'll reach out back. So we'll see if he wants to come on the show, and if he does, Wednesday would be a perfect day, and maybe we'll be talking about cap some more. But kind of the way that it went, and what we'll be talking about here this morning is, and I absolutely want your input. What it comes down to is this. This I know, okay? The Saints are, in any way you look at it, any form you want to take or look at it, the Saints are over the cap. They go into the offseason over the cap. Depending on where you look, it's anywhere from, it's probably closer to the, here, I wrote the number down. So I don't tell you the wrong thing. I know what it is in my head. So it's probably closer to the $13.64 million that over the cap says it is. than it is what Spot Track says, which is $41 million. Now, Spot Track is telling you what the Saints are like right now. If you look without them making a single move, this is what they are over the cap, and it's about $41 million without making a move. And now they can get down to under $20 million over the cap without cutting a single player. Okay, they have basically, you start with the players that have multiple years left in their contract, you restructure, and then you figure out who you want to come back. And, two of the players that we know that the Saints are going to want to come back are Cameron Jordan, Demario Davis. And you rework with their dead cap hits. You roll that into their future contract. So we know that, and that will help the Saints. That will help the cap number. But you're also thinking about the Chris Olaves of the world, okay? And what are you going to do with his contract? And, so anyway, long story long. And again, we'll talk about this when we get to the Saints in just a little bit. But, Nick and I you can go find it on X. It's easy to find. But we went back and forth probably 4 or 5 times. And I actually it's the same as a text when you texting someone and you don't mean for it to probably sound a certain way. But it always comes off wrong to the other person. I would imagine it probably came off wrong to him. But, my thing is this, and it's always been this, and is that I think that the Saints need to make sure that they avoid kicking a can again. How many times do we use the phrase kicking the can on this show? Who knows? Hundreds. So what the Saints, and everybody's happy now. Everybody's got this happy feeling because the way the Saints ended the year. It doesn't change the fact that the team went 5-12 2 years in a row. Anyway, well, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but that's what we're going to be talking about. That's probably what we're going to spend at least more than half the show talking about this morning. So if you want to comment on that, feel free to. We'll get to that in just a moment, I promise. But I wanted to give probably a longer advance to what's coming up on the show than I normally would. Again, because I want y'all to comment on it. It is Mano E Monday. That's what Monday is here. We don't have any guests on Monday except in rare situations. Gabe's not a guest. Gabe's a part of the show. Gabe will be on the show later. And who knows? He may have thoughts on this, or he may have thoughts on something else. Whatever Gabe wants to talk about on Monday, that's where we'll go. We'll see. Some other things before I get to your comments this morning. It is Monday, and y'all all know that, well, not all y'all know, but my New Year's resolution this year was the same thing it was last year, except last year I wasn't very good at it. I'm determined to do it this year, and I've already made it longer into the year with my New Year's resolution. Here we are on February 2nd, and I'm still doing it. And that's regarding my weight, which is ridiculously out of control. And last year, I promised that I was going to lose an average of 1 pound a week for 52 weeks. I didn't even come close. I lost. By the end of the year, I ended up being like, I had lost like 12 or 14 pounds during the year. And then I gained about 8 of them back from Thanksgiving to New Year's. So in the grand scheme, I was like net -4, which is better than net +4, but it's nowhere near the net -52 that I was determined to do. So this year, we have done fantastic, but I'll tell you what, man, I hit that rut early. You know how you go and you have like 6-8 good weeks to start, and then you hit a rut and you got to figure out how. This is how I've been successful in the past of dealing with ruts, so to speak. I have a cheat day. I don't know you. Okay, here we go. No, I'm serious. You have a cheat day, and you don't go stupid. Okay, you don't get outlandish, but no, you have a cheat day. And it was my anniversary. I told y'all that on Friday. We had a great anniversary weekend, and we didn't even really do a whole lot. It was too cold. I mean, even UBN knows it was too cold. So we had some pizza on Saturday night. Didn't hardly eat anything on Friday. Had pizza on Saturday, and I said yesterday for our anniversary, we went to a new Indian place that just opened up here on the North Shore. Yesterday was their opening day, and we went there yesterday. So that was my cheat weekend, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. The rest of the time I spent watching TV, and so I had to get away from everything. I took an entire weekend off. I didn't do any work on Saturday or Sunday. Well, maybe I did like an hour. I did like an hour's worth of work the entire weekend, which is way less than usual. So, but I enjoyed it. What did y'all do? It's so weird without football. I'm just telling you, I didn't watch basketball. I watched some highlights from LSU. I watched a few things about the Pelicans and kind of read about the Pelicans a little bit, but I just can't. Usually by now I'm starting to get into basketball. I just can't do it. I don't know if it's because the Pels are so bad. No, we're going to talk about the Pels briefly for a moment, but it's just a weird weekend. Anyway, today also on the show today, Super Bowl week. Super Bowl week. That is today's poll question. We're going to have an entire week of Super Bowl questions, okay? And they're not going to be hard-hitting questions this week, okay? It's okay. You answer, here's a poll question for you all to answer. Would you rather watch the game at home with just your immediate family, maybe your significant other and kids and your dog or whatever, or would you rather go to a Super Bowl party? And it sounds like, who cares? Whatever. It's different every year. What would you rather do? And I can tell you over the past. Well, obviously last year I was at the Super Bowl. That was so a little different. Last year at this time we were starting our Super Bowl Radio Row week, and we're having all our shows from Radio Row, which was an interesting experience for me. It was one of the experiences of a lifetime. Then I actually got to go to the Super Bowl. But that's highly unusual, obviously, for me. I will not be in Santa Clara this week. I'm going to be right here in front of. What would you rather do? Would you rather watch the game at home with just maybe even just you? Some people just like to watch the game by themselves. Or would you rather be at a party and half pay attention to the game, especially when it's two teams like this, when you probably don't care all that much? That's the poll question of the day. So we're going to get to comments and questions. Got some other things to talk about this morning. Before we get started with the rest of the show, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held businesses. Just as importantly, it's always Super Bowl week for them. They can figure out what that business is worth. That's you, someone you know. It's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding partner, Nick Braden. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you'll be well informed and begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Before Gabe will tell you. I promise. But for now, you can check him out. www.evangelinesecurities.com. Also, check out my friend Joe DiStefano. If you got a small company and you're trying to figure out how to get these peeps some insurance, well, Joe DiStefano is your man. If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all. And with Joe DiStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most. Okay, let's get rolling this morning. Roll them, as they used to say. Roll. I'm not doing the whole Popeye, let's roll them thing. But let's get to some of the comments because I got some, I'm telling you, little salute coming up to UBN in a minute with the brown ha. The bear ha. I'm sorry, it's the bear ha. Cedric, good morning. No Saints right now, but who dat? Of course. Saints to talk about, I promise. Apathy says, good morning. Doesn't seem much excitement behind the Super Bowl. I can't get fired up about it. I really can't. I can't. I'm trying. Who knows? Maybe on the day of the Super Bowl, we'll see. Maybe I'll get a little bit more fired up. You always get fired up when you get bets going. And I have futures. I've told you about this. I have futures on the Patriots. I'm trying to find a way to hedge, but I have not yet done that. Charles Mangus, good morning. 20 years ago, he filed his retirement papers for the Army. Thank you for your service, sir. And how time flies, most definitely. 35 years ago, I started in this business. It seems like, I mean, I hate when people say it seems like yesterday, but it seems like last month. Sometimes. Yeah, bonjour. We're going to get to that in a minute, UBN. Good morning, Tatters. How are you? Dylan Smith is here, another member of the Dattitude family. By the way, if you want to help support this channel, you can become a member of Dattitude. Just go to our YouTube page. Even if you don't want to be a paid member, you can help by just subscribing to the page on YouTube. You know how to do it. Dylan Smith, good morning. Hope everybody had a great weekend there. Headed to Paris. They most certainly are. That's coming up. I got a slide for it. Jerry, good morning. Everybody's the bonjour. Bonjour. Kyle, no, he's not trying to speak any French. Hope we're staying warm. It is going to get much warmer today and over the rest of this week. Again, that sound you heard is excitement from one Uncle Big Nick. My sister's here. Good morning. Dylan is not happy about the bear ha. He wants to bring back, not me. I was excited this morning when I heard about 6 more weeks of winter. In fact, you know what? Let's get to it. He saw a shadow. 6 more weeks of winter. All right, I promise I'm going to stop talking about Groundhog Day after I show you this. I got a 1 minute and 33 second clip. This will be the funniest thing, or maybe not the funniest thing. This will be the most enjoyable. My tongue is tied. This will be the most enjoyable thing you see today. This is my daughter from 11 years ago. I'm going to make it a tradition here on Groundhog Day. It's a 3-year-old explaining to you all about Punxsutawney Phil in a way I'm sure that you've never heard. Let me know what you think on the other side.
Okay, hold on. Who was scared of his shadow?
The bear ha.
The brown hog?
No, the bear ha.
Oh, the bear hog? The groundhog?
That's his name. And he lives under the ground.
And he came out, and what did he say? He saw a shadow? What does that mean?
He's scared.
He's scared. It means what?
That means he's scared.
Does it mean that it's going to be winter for longer or summer?
When he sees his shadow, he can't come. When it's hot, he comes out and plays in his swimming pool.
In his swimming pool. What's his name? Groundhog?
Yeah.
I think that
His name is Phil.
Punxsutawney Phil. Can you say that?
He doesn't live in no land.
He doesn't live in our land? Where does he live?
A faraway land.
A faraway land?
Very, very far away.
Wow.
He doesn't live on the buzzard ground.
Okay. Can I tell you what it means when he sees a shadow? It means 6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah. If he sees his shadow, he can't go there.
Mm-hmm.
Sees a shadow, you can't go there. Got to stay away. It's a faraway land. What are you, stupid? He doesn't live in this land. Attitude already, that was 11 years ago. If you think her attitude has changed since then, you would be mistaken. But she is, she's actually not feeling well. She had to stay home from school today. She's suffering with the bear ha in the other room. Yeah, I know. It is what it is. Deal with it, UBN, Jerry says. Absolutely. That's right, Sin. The bear ha. We got to show it. Charles Manga says her niece called Grandma Wampa, so all through Adolph Light called her that. Okay. Good morning, S. Callie. Ron Henderson survived a very cold weekend on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I mean, it was cold everywhere. Just can't seem to get excited about the soup. Maybe it was because it's been frozen everywhere. We got down at my house, okay? It did not get into the teens, but on, I think, was it Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night into Sunday morning, we got down at my house to 20.2 degrees. Burr. I kind of enjoyed it, though. Nothing froze. We're all good. Daryl Hayden, good morning, everybody. Logan wants to know what my thoughts are on the Saints signing a guard for agency like David Andrews from Buffalo or Ed Ingram from Houston. Then you turn around and draft Jeremiah Love at 8. That is, to me, Logan, that is the prime scenario, Okay. I mean, I think that if you're talking about where the Saints want to go and their top priorities, I think the number one priority is guard. I don't think there's any question that it's guard. So whatever you're going to do, okay, so how are you going to work all this out? Are you going to adjust all these contracts ahead of time? I mean, you got lots of things. By the way, I got some other things. I'll talk about some of the NFL news this morning when we get to the Super Bowl portion of the show. It's going to in a little bit, but we're going to jump into Saints. I may touch Pelicans a little bit at the very end of the show as well, too. Got a slide for them. But I want to get into the Saints now, and I want to get your thoughts on this. And Logan, that is a great segue into getting this show started here this morning and getting serious. The NFL cap at the end of last week was announced for 2026 is going to be $303.5 million. To put that in so you can kind of get a gist of where we are, last year it was $279.2 million. In 2024, when the Saints were in absolute cap hell, it was $255.4 million. So you're talking just under $50 million more than it was just 2 years ago. Now, obviously, it's a help for everybody, but to me, it's the biggest help for teams that need the help, like your New Orleans Saints. I mean, over the cap, there are a couple cap sites out there. We use Spot Track a lot. We've told you already that their number is the Saints are $41 million over. And while that is true, right now, as they said, they're $41 million over the cap. But that's before they make a single move. Now, my back and forth that I was telling you about with Nick Underhill, and it started with some other people. I don't even remember. I commented to something. Because, let me see if I can find it. Oh, hold on as we do this on live TV here. I want to talk about how it started. I got some notifications in here that I haven't looked at. Of course, here's another thing too. You can't, if you disagree, and again, I think Nick Underhill is fantastic. So let me say this with a caveat. I think Nick Underhill is fantastic at what he does. He has he knows everyone in there and he knows what's going on as much as anyone. Now, I will tell you that, I'm biased towards my friend Jeff Duncan, and I think that Jeff Duncan probably has as much of an in as anyone. But look, Nick Underhill is fantastic at what he does. I think he's great at understanding the salary cap. I think he's great at explaining it all. But that being said, I think anybody knows in the grand scheme of things what's going to happen or what's going to be best. So the people, boy, I'll tell you, man, you know how when you talk about players that Saints fans absolutely adore? I mean, if you talk about a Taysom Hill and you're like, it's time for not so much today as it was, but if you say it's time for Taysom Hill to go, or it's time for Alvin Kamara to go, and Saints fans get pissed off, and you're automatically enemy number one. Well, it's the same in the grand scheme of things in the social media world. If you do that about Nick Underhill, because they love them some Nick Underhill. And why do they love him? Because for the most part, I agree with him most of the time. Not always right. Anyway, I'm going back to how this started here. And it started about people talking about the Saints should just spend basically whatever the hell they want. It started with someone doing a mock draft, his mock draft. Everybody's doing their mock draft. You can go find, and I'm not exaggerating, you could probably find 1,000 mock drafts if you really look, because fans can do their own mock drafts now. And it started off with one particular Saints fan. Again, I'm not throwing out any names. It doesn't really matter. You can go find it. It's a long diatribe on my X page. Just go click on it if you're interested. At Jim Derry Jr., by the way. And this person's mock draft, and to each his own. I mean, I wasn't messing with the mock draft per se, but it started with Mansour Delane. Now, Zach and I talked about this the other day. First of all, I think I'm not going to say 0.0 on this, but I think the chances of the Saints taking a defensive back in the first round are slim to none. Okay. It's just you think about what this team needs, and I get that a lot of times they go best player available, and I'm going to get to more comments in just a minute. But they're not going to go draft a cornerback. I don't think they're going to draft an offensive lineman, which is their number one need. But their number two need, in my opinion, and you could say either running back or receiver, it's a skill player, okay? So I think as we sit here on Monday, February the 2nd, on Bear High Day, I think that the leader in the clubhouse has got to be a skill position player. And if he's available, I'd say there's probably at least a 50% chance that if he's available, that Jeremiah Love is going to be the pick. And so this conversation kind of digressed, I guess is the right way to put it, into just, go restructure contracts and just restructure everyone's contracts and go sign Breece Hall and Alec Pierce like we were talking about last week, which you're not going to get both, okay? I don't care how they restructure. People think you just go out there and restructure. And so anyway, this kind of went back and forth, and me talking about don't kick cans, and then Nick jumped in. And it wasn't mean about it, but just basically kind of trying to tell me I'm wrong. And my whole point about all this is not necessarily, sure, the Saints can free up a ton of money going forward. There's no doubt the Saints can free up money, okay? However, how do you free up money? You free up money in the present by taking it from the future. Now, the Saints are in great shape in 2027 and even better shape in 2028, where according to Over the Cap, as of right now, where the Saints stand in cap space for 2028, again, all kinds of things can change. But the Saints are second in the NFL right now, as we speak, looking at 2028 in cap space. They are, obviously, there's a projected salary cap, so you don't know what it's really going to be. But the projected salary cap in 2028, just to show you how ridiculous this is getting. Remember, I told you it was 250-something million 2 years ago? Well, the projected cap space in 2028, which is just 4 years from when it was 250-something million, is projected to be 352 million. So it's going to go up 100 million, and just that's because of wide receivers and quarterbacks, by the way. But the Saints are, projected to be second best right now. So they have some room to kick the can. I get it. But it's some point you have to decide, and here's my thing. You're talking about a team, regardless of how they ended last season and all the hope, and sure, there's a lot of hope. There's no question. There's tons of hope going into 2026 as well. There should be. You should be hopeful about this team. But if you start making all these deals and restructuring everyone and moving stuff to the future, which is what you have to do. You don't just move stuff to the first of all, they have to all agree to restructures. Okay. Second of all, no matter what you do today, it's going to affect tomorrow. This is not some philosophy class. This is reality. And so how did the Saints get to back-to-back 5-12 seasons? Well, it's simple. They kicked the can so far that they suffered for 2 years. Now, again, if you go back in time and go back to probably 2019, 2020, and when all this downfall really started and Drew Brees retired and Sean Payton ended up leaving after 2021 or whatever, I get it. It's different. It's a different situation. You go back and the Saints weren't expected to be second in cap space 2 years from 2021. No. So they have more wiggle room. I'm not saying you can't kick some cans, but you also can't just take away from the future when this team could legitimately be set up in the very near future to be able to spend a crap ton of money. I don't think it's the time to do that just yet. Let's get to some more of the comments here. See what everyone else thinks. So anyway, Logan, and I go back to this comment because this is kind of what started it with it. on what are my thoughts of the Saints signing a guard in free agency like David Andrews from Buffalo or Ed Ingram from Houston, then turn around and draft Jeremiah Love at 8. I think that is the perfect scenario. You start with signing your own people first, restructuring as best you can, and jumping on. You pick out 2 or 3 guards that, look, these are the guys at the top of our list. And whoever the guy is at number 1, you go after him first, and you spend what you got to spend on the guard. You just do it. You got to. You got to. So, Logan, I agree with you. I think that's the perfect scenario, and I'm 100% all over Jeremiah Love, which is why and how this whole conversation started on X. And to Nick's defense, he wasn't saying go out and go get Breece Hall or Alec Pierce and spend whatever money you got to spend on skill players. He was just kind of interjecting that, they are going to have tons of cap space. My sister even watched over the weekend. A lot of people watched the Saints Super Bowl 44. I can't lie. I watched it last week. And then yesterday they had the clips rolling of, how they had the 30-minute Super Bowl highlights or whatever. Yeah, that came on yesterday. I had to stop when that came on. All right, I'm behind. I'm trying to catch up now. Larry Broad says, good morning. It's a beautiful day in Metri. It's a beautiful day in Mandeville. Encourage everybody to step out, enjoy some sunshine, have a great day and a great week. It is carnival time. It most certainly is. And, man, I can't wait for this weekend. Look, you got – now I do have to cover – I have to do play-by-play for a doubleheader at Loyola. I'm doing a doubleheader Loyola basketball on Saturday. But you got parades Friday night. We're going to go to the parades on Saturday night. Sunday, we'll probably go to parades during the day, come back, watch the Super Bowl, and then get ready. Get ready. It's Endymion week, next week. And, yep, we're taking some time off. Oh, yeah, programming note, by the way. We'll have a show, obviously, Wednesday. I don't know who our guest is yet. Then Friday, Zach. I think Zach's coming on Friday. I'm not 100% sure. And then, he's coming on. We'll preview the Super Bowl. And then next Monday, we will review the Super Bowl and we're taking a week and a half off. And it will be a week from today is the season 5 finale. Hard to believe, huh? Friday, February 20th, I think, is the day. We will have the season 6 premiere. Jerry says he's watching the Super Bowl on Sunday in Saints gear every year. Well, that's why you should. Ron Hendrickson answering the poll question. In the past, he's hosted a few close friends at his house for Super Bowl. He's never attended a Super Bowl party. Really? You've never attended a Super Bowl party? Okay. All right. Christopher Crump is an Army vet, being a Saints fan since 1967. Glad to see we're getting younger. You mean the Saints are getting younger? Yeah, they most certainly are. Big deal. Jason Benson, good morning. He's had enough. He doesn't like Punxsutawney Phil. He's had enough of winter in Northeast Louisiana. People still without power. It won't be too long where we'll be back to normal. I think temps are warming up this week. If I'm wrong, I'll talk to Nash Roberts. And Hakeem, big dog, welcome back, my friend. Oh, yeah, she's sweet. My daughter, in case you missed it, you can go back and watch it later. My daughter, 11 years ago, as a 3-year-old, trying to explain what the bear ha was. Good morning, Emily. Jerry says it was 19 in Gulfport on Sunday. Wow. Earl's picks. Woodstock Will is the only groundhog that matters. Okay. All right. Kyle Sherman says easiest offseason for Kai Harley in many years. I mean, is there such thing as an easy offseason? I tell you what, I will say this though, Kyle, you're definitely right about it. It's certainly not after last year, the last 2-3 years. Apathy says he's all for a post June 1 cut of Kamara if you find a running back either in free agency or drafting Love. We talked about this last week as well, and Zach has brought this up in the past that, some people are going to say, well, why would you do a post June 1 cut on Kamara? You save $9 million. However, at the same time, it's not until after June 1. But again, I want everyone to go look at last year and how many offensive linemen were still available post June 1. Plenty of them. Then you're going to have other post June 1 cuts that you'll be able to sign. Kyle says also that priority besides personnel is the Saints need to keep the training room intact. Lowest rate of soft tissue injuries in the league. I don't know, Kyle. I still want to have a show on. They have other issues when it comes to what's going on in the training room. The Saints were, I think, 2 years ago. Oh no, it was 3 years ago. The Saints are never in the top half of the league of fewest injuries. Never. They never are. And I say this without looking. You can prove me wrong if you want. But I know that was it Sean Payton's last year. They had a team record for injuries in a season and how many players started. Think about year before last as they went down the stretch. And Spencer Rattler playing with a bunch of nobodies because of all the injuries they had. Now, granted, sometimes you have injuries and you don't want to play. You don't want to play players because you don't have to, and it's meaningless. But I don't know that I'm in this. I don't know that I'm in the same boat with you, Kyle, when you talk about this training staff. If you're talking about the strength and conditioning staff, then I'm okay with that. Yeah, I agree with that. But if you're talking about the medical training staff, I don't know if I can agree with that. Hakeem, Breece Hall would be a great pickup. Yeah, but I don't think you spend the money on a Breece Hall when you can go get Jeremiah Love in the draft. That's just my opinion. Hakeem also says that Love is a good back, but is he Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, James? How do you know? How do you know that? You can get a good back in round 2 or 3. You're certainly not going to get a Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, James Cook in round 2 or 3. I know. I mean, it's funny because that's where we are now. It's like nobody wants. That's another thing that got caught into that X stream that we were all talking about. There were multiple people in there talking about it, and it might not have been exactly in that stream, but it was in the stream. Not necessarily the one that I was involved in, but if you go look at the entire stream, people talking about you don't draft a running back at 8. The hell you don't. Besides guard, what do the Saints need more than anything? It's no question. It's a running back. So you want to go out and buy Breece Hall, and I'm not saying you in particular, Hakeem. I'm talking about there are a lot of people that think the way you think. And this is my disagreement to that. Go get Breece Hall and spend, I don't know, what's it going to cost? $50 million over 4 years in that neighborhood? And that's even if he'd want to come here. I mean, he just got off, and no offense, Saints fans, but you can think about it like this. Breece Hall's leaving the Jets. He's leaving the GD Jets. You think he wants to come to the Saints? Come on. Your opinion of the Saints and my opinion of the Saints are probably a lot different than Breece Hall's opinion of the Saints. So it's not as simple as just go get Breece Hall. In a perfect world, you'd get Breece Hall and Alec Pierce and have money and still sign Cam and Demario. I mean, think about all the things that you need to do. Number one priority for this football team is unquestionably a guard. Number 2, in my opinion, is unquestionably a running back. Gabe says he thinks it's 3 for 39. That's the same as 4 for 50 or in that ballpark. Maybe you don't give a running back 4 years. So, I mean, that makes sense. Just saying. Hakeem, Saints need help up front, but nobody wants to draft an O-line drafted early, which is stupid at the position of need. The reason why you're not going to draft, it's much easier, especially this year. Every year is different. But this year in particular, and we talked about this, just do a Google search. Do a Google search on free agent guards that are available. There are tons of them, which is unlike normal years. It's not usually like that. It's usually tough, very tough to get a really good guard. And if usually there's like 2 or 3 that are really good, and all the teams fighting for guards are going after the same 3. It's not that way this year. There are plenty of them out there. There are like 8 or 10 that are not just starting guards, but top 30 guards in this league. Saints need to go after whoever they think is a top 10 guard. They need to shore up this offensive line. And I know people tell them, move Eric McCoy to guard and move Cesar Ruiz center. They're not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. They're not going to do that. Eric McCoy is one of the best. He gets hurt all the time. He's gotten hurt the last 2 years. Before that, he never got hurt. Eric McCoy is going to be your starting center next year. You go get a guard. You plug him in at left guard. And then you probably, I'm not saying this is definitely the case, but you probably stick with Ruiz. You restructure Ruiz's contract. And you stick with him at guard next year, at right guard. And then, maybe Cesar Ruiz looks a little bit better if he's got 4 really good linemen around him. I think it's a good chance. I think you're going to find out whether you want to or not anyway. As we go forward. It is what it is, but I just think that's what the Saints are going to end up doing. And if I had to pick right now and put a number on it, I don't know what the Gabe, are the odds? Can you look real quick? I think there are some draft odds on positions. Would you see if there is a line on what position the Saints are going to go after in the first round, or what goes at the 8th pick or something like that? Because I'm telling you, there's probably value in this. All these mock drafts coming out from the quote unquote experts, some of them have love going to the Saints, but most of them don't. And I'm telling you right now, if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say, I'm telling you right now, if Jeremiah Love is available at 8, I think there's at least a 50% chance that the Saints take him there. That's my opinion. Gabe says no, right now they only have number 1 pick odds, so we'll have to wait and see what comes out. But just think about logistically. I don't think this is a Saints team can go best player available. They didn't go best player available last year. They didn't go best player available the year before that. They went with need. You're 5-12 2 years in a row. You're trying to shore up everything for your offense. You got an offensive-minded head coach. I think the chances of them drafting a defensive player in the first round is less than 15%, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Am I wrong? Maybe. It wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong. Ryan Ashe says, in terms of needs, an argument can be made that cornerback is more of a need than wide receiver. We have a number 1 wide receiver. Kool-Aid is a 2. Quincy Riley hasn't proven yet that he's a 2. Alante is a high-level nickelback. You can't draft a cornerback with your number 1 pick. This team has way too many needs. If you want to say that, can an argument be made that a cornerback is a bigger need than a wide receiver? It can be. You're wrong. Sure, you got a number 1 Chris Olave. That's great. And maybe you do have two twos. You're saying Quincy Riley hasn't proved that he's a 2. He's absolutely a 2. I'd rather you see if you're going to go, if you think that cornerback's that important, then spend the money on Alante. Are they going to do that? I have no idea what they're going to do. I literally have no idea with Alante Taylor what they're going to do. They're going to try to get him back or not. But regardless, even if you think cornerback's more important than wide receiver, fine. Got to get a running back. Jeremiah Love, I'd say there's probably an 80 to 90% chance that he's still there at 8. And I think that there's a 50% chance the Saints take him. And if you don't get him, to me, wide receivers are way harder to get in the draft. You have to spend way more money on a wide receiver in free agency than you have to spend on a defensive back. It's a fact. I'd rather see you go get a stud receiver. I mean, honestly, if it's me, and I never say this, you can go back and look and see what we talk about. I'd rather see the Saints go skill player 1 and 2. Go running back, go receiver. I'm cool with that. Your defense is not in bad shape, especially if you get Cam and Demario to come back. Is that going to affect how the Saints drafted? Very well might be. It could be. Jerry talking about the poll question. He's attended a few Super Bowl parties, but the older he got, it's just himself, and he as of now. Jerry, I'm with you. That's pretty much how I am today. I used to always probably find somewhere to go and watch it with bunches of other people, but I find myself the same. Mark Satanovich says he's going to be at Metairie parades. And so, well, I will too, but you could still go home and watch the Super Bowl. My friend Father Steve says, good morning, everybody, from the Best Bank. He agrees on drafting Love at number 8. Jason Benson says, not everyone wants Love. Not everyone, Jason, including himself. We're going to inevitably be let down. That's true. No, that's why I say 50%, Jason, because even when you think it's obvious, and I love, pardon the pun, I love that the professional mock drafts are mostly not putting Love there. I love that. There's no other way else to say it. I think it's great because you're right. The mock drafts are usually wrong. So please, by all means, all you pros doing mock drafts, great. Stay away from Jeremiah Love. Jay Tucker Rafferty and I don't always agree, but I think we agree on this one. The league is changing. You do not pass up a game-changing running back anymore. Us drafting one gives you 5 years of control. Couldn't agree more. And what is the shelf life? Who has the shortest shelf life? What position is the shortest shelf life in football? It's got to be running back these days, right? Maybe any day. We talk about running backs once they hit the age of 30. Jeremiah Love, I think, is super young, too, by the way. Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love is 20 years. He's going to be 21 on May 31st. Just think about that. You got Alvin Kamara in the same boat. And now here we are. Alvin Kamara is 30. At most, he's got one more year left. Maybe not even 1 year. But look, if Alvin Kamara stays, great, and you go draft to Jeremiah Love, man, all of a sudden the running back room, and we talked about this with Zach, and if Kamara isn't a post-June 1 cut and he stays, and they say, you know what, we're just going to eat the money, we're going to keep AK because not only is he just think of what he could be if he only had to touch the ball half of what he normally touches the ball, besides what his presence would mean in the locker room. So look, I'm not saying, if he doesn't leave, it's silly. No, I'm not going that far. But if you go draft to Jeremiah Love and you have an AK-41 to help Jeremiah Love, man, I'm just saying, man, that could be a big deal. Jason says also Ruiz looks better when McCoy's in the lineup. He does. That's true. No question. Justin Bracey wants to know, am I going to Paris? Absolutely not. I wouldn't go to Paris if Gabe won the lottery and paid for it. I ain't leaving the United States of America right now. Sorry. You call me a fraidy cat, whatever. I'm not getting on a plane and flying to Europe. I'm just not doing it. That's it. That's all. No big deal. Gabe wants to know if I've ever been to Paris. No. And don't get me wrong. Maybe one day I'd like to go. I mean, I have other places in Europe that I would rather go than Paris. Not that y'all care about that. And we're talking about the Saints right now. There are probably 5, 6, 7 other 6, 7. See what I did that on accident. That I'd rather go than Paris. Lots of them. I mean, it's like UBN says. What did LL Cool J say? I need love. I know what I'm talking about. Not all of you know what I'm talking about. Sav says, off topic, does the league give the Saints a certain amount of money for losing out on game day income when they play overseas? Losing a home game sucks for the city. Gabe says yes. You know what? You ready to come on for a second? I'm going to bring you on because you can maybe explain this better. You know what? I'm going to put a different. There you go, Saints. Let's get into this for a minute. Saints are the home team in Paris. And it became it's been rumored for a week, and Jeff Duncan wrote about it late last week, and it became official. The thing that bothers me most about this game, and I've said this before, It's not so much of the same. Look, everybody's got to go play overseas now. It is what it is. You don't have to go play every year, but this is the second time in 6 years. Well, the second time, I guess, 3 opportunities for the Saints. They have 9 home games. Sending them overseas where they lose that 9th home game, that extra home game, and it kind of bothers me. Last time they did it with the Vikings, and remember Andy Dalton started, and the Saints had a chance to beat the Vikings and didn't, and they ended up losing, but whatever. So, but just talk about what you know about what the team gets when they go overseas.
I know what I just Googled.
That's good enough for me. What is it?
I just know that the NFL gives teams a stipend to make up for not only the travel and all that to the international games, but also for the game day operations cost lost.
Okay. So basically it sounds like they don't give them a whole lot. I mean, they give them something. You don't make up what yeah, I guess what I'm saying is you don't make up what you lose in your game day revenue.
I'd actually be intrigued to see the average cost of a ticket for an international game as opposed to a regular Saints home game. Let's be honest with ourselves. The Saints weren't going to draw in a ton of money for playing the Browns. Those aren't going to be high demand tickets.
Well, I mean, they're sold out for every game. They get the same amount no matter what.
Yeah. And I guarantee you the game in Paris will be sold out as well. The tickets will probably just cost more.
Maybe. And I mean, I'm guessing, I have no idea what does at Stadium hold. You're a soccer guy. Do you know? I guess you can Google it. And
I guarantee you probably 50.
That's what I was thinking.
80K.
80. Okay. And you said the Saints get, how much of the gate do they get?
How much what?
How much of the gate do they get? Do they get how much of the season? I mean, the NFL gets most of that money, right? Yeah. So anyway, we'll do some research on that side and come back to it. All right, Gabe, I'll come back to you in about probably about 10 or 15 minutes. We're going to come back to you.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. Yeah, I want to talk about this Paris thing a little bit more. Yeah, we're not going to get into the city of Paris itself, Charles. I mean, everybody has different experiences. That's not why I don't want to go to Paris. I don't want to go to Paris because of it has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with people. It has nothing. There are just other places that I would rather go in Europe. I mean, for me, not that anyone cares, but I wanted to go to Greece my entire life. So I wouldn't even go. Greece is probably, if it's not number one on my bucket list, it's up there. And I wouldn't even do that right now. I just don't want to leave the country. Scaredy cat, maybe. Apathy wants to know, wasn't it reported this morning that it's 10% off tickets because the Saints lost the home game? I did not see that. I don't think anybody's taken anything off of
the tickets. Saints, they flexed like 10% off season.
Yeah, but that's only they're taking off of. There's no ninth game, so they're just not charging you for a ninth game.
They just counted season tickets by 10% or something like that. It's
yeah, okay. Well,
just a logistical thing.
Yeah, we'll do some more looking at that. I can't imagine they're actually taking 10% off of the course of, if let's just say, I know tickets cost more than $100, but for the sake of argument, let's just say a season ticket costs $100 a piece, and you're spending $900 a ticket because you have one preseason game and 8 regular season games, and they're charging you $900 for a season ticket. They're not going to charge you $810. They're just not charging you for the $100. They're not charging you $1,000 because that's what it would cost for 10. So they're making it sound like they're giving you 10% when they're not. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll do research before Wednesday, tell you that I'm wrong, but I can almost bet that's the case. So anyway, all right, see you in a few more minutes. There's a couple things I want to get to here this morning. Good morning, Mr. Jay Hamilton. He says he wants to go to Ireland. Ireland is number 2 behind Greece. Absolutely. Gabe says so you've been to Paris, Gabe. He says it's overrated as a city, but food is top tier. Well, I mean, I'm not going to turn down the food in Paris. If I ever go to Paris, I'm certainly not going to turn down the food. Hakeem says he's heard that Germany is nice. Also, London. both of those places, I would rather go to Germany and I would rather go to the UK, or I'd rather go to England before I go to France. That's just me. Both of those places. St. Louis Obispo, who that's here? He says his wife and he spent several months living in Paris during the last few years. Okay. They love it. There you go. They love it. It's not for everyone looking into getting tickets. Hey, that's your thing. Go for it. Again, to me, I just don't want to travel overseas. Multiple reasons why I don't want to. All right. I'm an open book. I am very claustrophobic, first of all. So I'm not a huge plane guy. Okay. Which obviously was a problem when I was covering the Saints here and there and going and cover games on the road and whatever, and doing whatever else on the road. And when I used to fly a lot more than I fly now. But I would always spend the money, whatever the company would pay for me to fly, I would then spend the extra money to fly in first class. And I know it's not way more times than not, it wasn't that much more to fly up there if you did it early enough in advance. But I would rather spend my own money and feel like I have space. It's not the fear of flying. I have no fear of flying. It's the fear of being cramped up like this with nowhere to go for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. That's my problem. So going across to Europe, especially with all the crap that's going on and just got to go through, I don't know. St. Louis Obispo also says that if you don't like Paris, try down in Provence on the Mediterranean coast. I would love to do that. Honestly, I really would. Al also said he's going back to Cali. I don't think so. Just saying. All right. No, Gabe. That was way before Biggie. I'm going back to Cali. That was LL. I know you're young. Way before that. Come on, album, dude. You know that. Come on, man. Go look it up. Go ahead. All right. What else we got this morning? Oh, yeah. I never finished talking about the so by the way, the Saints, here's another problem that I had with the home game. And this is, in the grand scheme of things, the only person that's going to care about stuff like this is me. Maybe a couple of y'all might care about this part of it. So, yeah, they're playing in Paris versus the Browns. Of all the teams that they picked to play in there, I mean, the Saints now lose a home game against the team that they should beat. That bothers me. That part of it bothers me. But here's the other part of it that I know a lot of things bother me. And again, this won't bother probably 85% of y'all. But the announced scheduled date for this game is October the 25th. Okay, great. What is that going to be? You know what? Let's call up a calendar week of the season that will be. If I can scroll down. So if week 1 is going to be September the 6th is the first week of the season. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Week 8 will be October the 25th, which in all likelihood means that the Saints would be off on week 9. Now, great. Now, someone pointed out yesterday, it is absolutely true that home teams have the right when they go to Europe, they have the right. They are asked by the NFL, do you want it to be your bye week to be the week that you come back from Europe? And you can choose. And the Saints have had it before. The last time they went overseas, which was to play the Vikings, and I think it was in London. I'm fairly certain it was in London. I think it was at Tottenham. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's where it was. Anyway, the Saints chose not to take their bye week when they came back that time because if I remember correctly, it was like week 4 they went there and they didn't want their bye week to be in week 5. And I don't blame them at all. So, yeah, it was in Tottenham. So they are most likely, it's not a definite thing, but almost certainly with that being week 9 or week 8, they would take their bye week the week after and come back and have the week 9 as their bye week, which is pretty much when you like to have your bye week. In this case, here's the big problem I have with they missed the NFL and the Saints are missing a great opportunity here because November the 1st, 2026 is not just All Saints Day, but is the 60th anniversary of when the Saints were formed. So the Saints, if they choose that as their bye week, which they probably will, it just sucks to me that you're missing a great opportunity to play. Not all anniversaries are equal. First of all, you don't even play on November the 1st, once every 5 to 6 years, whatever it is. And then not all anniversaries are equal. This is your 60th anniversary. I would love to see the Saints play at home on November 1st, 2026 and wear their throwbacks to 1967. To me, that would be a perfect scenario. And play like the Falcons on November 1st and have them wear their throwbacks. It's just, they're missing an opportunity here. And great, you're Nouvelle Orleans and you play in Paris. Whoop-de-doo. You get a chance to do it. Couldn't you do it at a different time? Couldn't you do it on November the 8th and then take the week after that off, or even October the 18th and take off the 25th and then be able to play on November the 1st at home? I don't know. There's just so many opportunities. And again, I know this is something that probably won't bother most Saints fans, but it bothers me. A chance to be home on a big anniversary. 60th anniversary. That's what this year is. It's going to be the 60th anniversary season. And they're not going to be at home. So anyway, big deal to me. Gabe says they couldn't do it in November. Then do it on October the 18th. They already had a game on October the 18th. Well, then make the Saints a priority. They're going to Paris. Whatever it is. You can't tell me there's not a way to do it. There's a way to do it. And they didn't do it. And the real answer in my guess is, and maybe someone will ask this, maybe I'll get a chance to ask it. I don't know. But the real answer probably is no one thought about it. And I wish the Saints would have said in the beginning, when all this stuff was being talked about, okay, we'll go to Paris, but can we make sure that we don't have to take a bye week? And again, they don't have to take a bye week on November the 1st. They probably, but do you want to go play overseas and not take your bye week when it's the perfect time to take the bye week? You're being pissed off. I hate that shit. I know you're being funny. It's not funny. I hate that. NFL doesn't hate the Saints. You're just trying to rile people up. Just whatever. The Saints had a say, Charles. I promise you they had a say. I 100% guarantee you the Saints had a say. Now, in the grand scheme of things, the NFL might have said, you're going to Paris. But I promise you they had a say on a lot of different things about going to Paris. It's the NFL doesn't hate the Saints. Roger Goodell doesn't. I'm going to say this one last time before we move on. You know how many teams, fans, think that the NFL hates their team? That would be 31.5. Even half of the Chiefs fans thinks their teams hates the Saints. I mean, the Chiefs. The other half knows how good they have it and whatever. Just going to say. So we'll see what happens. But look, we're going to talk more about the cap coming up too. I know I probably didn't go through it as much as I would have liked to. But again, lastly, before we move on, because I want to get Super Bowl, and I'm going to bring Gabe in just a minute. But we talked about the cap space and what it's going to be, $303.5 million. But look, you're going to have to talk about who you're going to restructure. Again, how do you save money before you even move forward and you don't have to cut anybody? You restructure guys like Justin Reed, Cesar Ruiz, Juwan Johnson, Pete Werner, all guys with multiple years remaining on their contracts. You get them to do it by saying, here's some money we're going to give you up front, and then you spread it over the course of whatever. But again, when you talk about doing that and when you talk about spreading money over, you don't just spread money over. You think about what it's going to do for your future. you got to take money from somewhere to do it now. Does it help you tomorrow? Sure. But what does it do for 2 years from now? Stay in great shape. To me, I think a team coming off of 2 5-12 seasons, don't get me wrong. I've said it here more than anyone's ever said it. I'm all about winning now. Great. If you can win now, win now. But you're not going to turn a 5-12 team into an 11-6 team like that. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, the Patriots are the blueprint. They went from 4-13 to 14-3. Super rare. Look at their schedule. Look how lucky they got. All sorts of things lined up exactly right for Drake May and the Patriots. At some point in the next couple months, we're going to have a show that focuses probably on using the Patriots blueprint. That's great. Fantastic. Use the Patriots blueprint. But you know how lucky you have to be to go from 4-13 to 14-3? You can't just be really good. You have to be super lucky. So realistically, a realistic number for the Saints next year is to win like 9 games. I think that's a realistic number. And if you build off of that for the future, and the Patriots had set themselves up to be in good cap shape. The Saints have a chance now to be in as good or better shape than anyone 2 years from now. Don't kick cans. And that's my big thing. Chris Olave's big contract's coming up. Right now, he counts $15.5 million towards 2026. He's probably going to get a new deal. His contract's going to be spread out. Could you make it to where what his cap hit's going to be in 2026, less than $15.5 million? You could. But then you're talking about making his cap like $40 million, $50 million later. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't kick the can. Figure out a way to do it to where, I mean, sure, a little can kicking's okay because you have the space to do it, but don't just go free up $60, $80 million. No. What do you need to do? You need to get your guard. You need to keep the guys that you want to keep for now. Demario Davis signed him to a 2-year deal probably. Cam, he signed to a 1-year deal. And you go from there. But you don't open up all this space to go get a guy like Breece Hall or Alec Pierce. I don't think. And if you do, you certainly prioritize a guy like Alec Pierce, which to me is harder to get, but how much money is he going to command? I don't know. Again, things we're going to talk about in the near future. Just don't go out and kick cans. Just don't. Darryl wants to know, what do I think about Demario coming back? I mean, I've said this before. My number hasn't changed. My odds have not changed. 50%. 50% is the number. I said last week, I'm not changing. I think there's a 50% chance that Demario Davis is back here next year. And if he's back here next year, 2 years from now. Well, Earl's picks, Demario Davis wants a ring. Everybody wants a ring. I mean, are you saying you think Demario Davis would take less money to go somewhere where he thinks that has a better chance of a ring? I don't. I think the Saints are, this is not smoke. I don't think they have any chance to win a ring next year. Well, I can't say no. I'm not going to say 0.0. The odds are not good. They're not going to be in the upper echelon next year. They'll still be in semi-football purgatory. But I think they have a chance in 2 years to be in that number. I think their odds in 2 years, I think their odds for the 2027 season, if I had to guess right now, if they progress like I think they're going to progress next year, I think the Saints have a good chance to be like in the 30-1 range, which is legitimate. I mean, you got two teams this year that were, one was 50-1 to win the Super Bowl for the season, and another one was 80-1. So 30-1 is absolutely in a spot to where you can win a Super Bowl. The Saints right now, go put money on it now because it probably will change, by the way, if you want to do this. Saints right now to win the Super Bowl in 2026 on DraftKings, because I put a few bucks on it just for the hell of it. 100-1. It's value. I think it's value. Do I think the Saints going to win the Super Bowl at the end of the 2026 season? No. But at 100-1, I'll put a few bucks on it. I mean, I'll put a few bucks on UBN going out and dancing on ice. But I think I'm getting value on it. Earl says he thinks Demario Davis is going to leave. Maybe he will. So, again, these are things that we'll be talking about when we come back. Again, 3 more shows before we go on a week and a half vacation. It's not really a week and a half vacation, by the way. I'm going to be off the air for a week and a half. However, I will be working behind the scenes. So, really, it's only going to be like a 5 to 6 day vacation. But I am going to get away from this computer. Okay, there you go. I bet $2 on the Pels to win the NBA championship. I certainly did. If I think I'm getting a good number, I don't care if it's probably not going to happen. I'll bet on a 0.0 if I think I'm getting value. Just saying. All right, let's move on as we close out the show today. Going to bring on Gabe in just a minute. But before we do all that, we told you earlier, we'll let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth, whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? That is the better than the poll question. That is the question of the week. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanian Nick Braden and the folks at Evangeline begin an extensive auction process for among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. They will maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities, the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and none 0.0 with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick about what's really important. And it's not about what the cap space will be 2 years from now. No. It's not about who's last, the Kansas City Chiefs, or who's first, the Tennessee Titans next year. No, it's not about that. What's really important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Well, I mean, I'm not, of course you wouldn't bet on them win now. Jerry, I didn't bet on them yesterday. So that was a while back. I mean, you bet on them now, you need to, I mean, literally, if somebody gave me a penny and said I could have the Pelicans at 1,000,000-1, I would put the penny heads up on the ground and hope somebody picked it up and got some good luck. Not today. I already bet this. All right. As I bring Gabe on here, some things that. Good morning again. Oh, it's good afternoon now.
It is.
A couple things, by the way. Chance to answer the poll question. If you did not answer it already, if you weren't here earlier, the poll question is, would you rather watch the game at home with just your immediate family and your canines and felines, or would you rather go to a Super Bowl party? Gabe, that's the first question I'll ask you.
I hate people.
I knew that was the answer.
I would rather watch by myself.
I 100% knew that was the answer. I would have bet big money that was your answer, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind.
I mean, I'd watch with my friends, but
yeah, but even that, you would probably just rather watch by yourself. They're not watching.
I don't know. I will say, my best friend is an Eagles fan, and watching him melt down live when they lost to the Chiefs a few years ago was, although I felt bad for him in the moment, comedic gold in the long run.
Let's see. I don't know if did you were you pulling for the Eagles too?
I believe I bet on the Eagles in that game. Yeah. Okay. But I had a bunch of side bets. So I've done pretty well in the last couple Super Bowls betting wise.
All right. Some other NFL news this morning. Charles says he would not go to a Super Bowl party. He'd rather watch it by himself. Clint Kubiak likely going to the Raiders. Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur, the Arizona Cardinals. Either one of those stick out for you?
No. Those are the two of the worst run organizations in football. They could hire Bill Belichick and it wouldn't matter.
And I've read so much stuff about my friends just thinking, oh, they should have kept Clint Kubiak. I just
can we stop doing the hindsight crap?
Yeah.
As a collective NFL fan base, can we stop doing that?
No,
Because
you're never going to stop
you look
that.
at Ravens fans. Oh, we should have kept Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, right. How are you
John
going to keep
Harbaugh
him?
won you a ring.
First of all, how are you going to keep him? Second of all,
What are we doing here?
and this is what I tell people, Clint Kubiak, how in the world would you keep Clint Kubiak when you hire a Kellen Moore to be your coach? What's Clint Kubiak going to do? Hold his clipboard? It ain't going to happen.
Two different offensive styles.
Earl says he thinks it's a bad move. Earl, I'm going to say this. I don't think it's ever a bad, I can't say ever, hardly ever a bad move if you're getting a head coaching gig in the NFL. There's only 32 of them. People were saying last year it was a terrible spot for Kellen Moore should never take that job. You know how many times I heard on Super Bowl Radio Row when it was becoming more apparent that Kellen Moore, about the same time last year, was getting close to apparent that Kellen Moore was getting the job, and people were saying, Kellen Moore should never take that job. They aren't saying that today. Most people aren't.
I mean, every fan base can retroactively look at things. Like Texans at one point had Mike Vrabel as their defensive coordinator. Yeah. They've had Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan under Gary Kubiak in the South. You're never going to hear me say, "Oh, should have kept them. Should have kept them." It's awful to do that stuff in hindsight. Don't do it.
By the way, Daryl, he loves the Pels +6. It's not tonight. That game got moved. It's being played at 2:00 this afternoon. So
I also don't love that.
Okay, he doesn't love it. But
either way, the
Charlotte at 2:00.
I believe Charlotte in the month of January set a record. They tied a record for the best point differential in a single month in league history, which is impressive. From the Charlotte Hornets, they figured out how to play with all their guards.
More NFL news, and this one is kind of local because it's a Destrehan guy talking about it, and he just so happens to quite possibly be the greatest current receiver in the NFL. Justin Jefferson saying the Vikes would have been better off with Sam Darnold. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I mean, we told you how long have you and I been talking about JJ McCarthy is going? We were saying going to be a bust, and now I think we could say is a bust, even though it's early still. I mean, come on, man.
I don't think anyone can be surprised by these comments. Did you see the reaction from Jefferson anytime a ball came his way?
Oh yeah, it was comedic gold.
JJ McCarthy, that dude was frustrated as hell.
Comedic gold.
He hated life.
Comedic gold. Loved it. Yeah, look, I feel bad for JJ, and look, but I don't like the Vikings, so I don't feel bad for them. And they're kind of stuck. I think they're at least stuck with McCarthy for next year. Now, if he stinks again,
not necessarily.
I mean, you can't. I just don't see organizations throwing away. They're not ready to admit they were wrong about a pick this early.
They just fired their GM.
I know, but they're too stubborn.
There's your scapegoat right there.
Right, that's your scapegoat. But I don't think they're going to say, "Okay, sit down, JJ McCarthy." I mean, maybe
you've already got. I mean, Kevin O'Connell. Look, he had Sam Darnold last year and had success with him. Why wouldn't they dip into free agency again?
Who's going to be a? Did they go get Kirk Cousins back?
Malik Willis. It's a hot name on everyone's list.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Kevin O'Connell's a good coach, so I don't know.
H-Town saying JJ was part of Harbaugh's offensive system and it made him laugh and vomit all at the same time, I guess. I mean, you mean McCarthy? Yeah. I mean, does that make you look how you do in college to me as far as wins?
You can actually. That's Mac Jones isn't about shout for them. I think Mac Jones is really good with Kevin O'Connell.
What about Jimmy G? I'm just kidding.
He's made a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah.
He's in a similar offensive style right now with the Rams, so it could work. You don't need Minnesota doesn't need a quarterback to do too much. They've got all the weapons around them.
They do. I mean, they could get better in a hurry. But the problem is, to me, that division is now one of the best in football, and it's going to be interesting. All right, I got a correction as we shift into Super Bowl talk here. Look, I'm transparent. When I'm wrong, I tell you I'm wrong. When I'm right, sometimes I tell you I'm right too. But I definitely tell you when I'm wrong. And I have a correction from something I said last week. I was making fun of people for trying to explain the Patriots wearing white and how the home team shifts. And I was being very Derry-ish, basically saying people are stupid, in my own way. that the Patriots are wearing white and how, well, no shit. The Patriots are the home team. The Patriots actually chose to wear white. I was right, though, about the shifting. So, like I said, the Patriots actually chose to wear white. They're calling themselves the Road Warriors or whatever. So I just wanted to point out that I was wrong last week. But I don't think I went back and looked and realized some of the Patriots' best Super Bowls is when they wore blue. So, I mean, I know you don't care
They've
about
played
that.
well in white this season, though. That's why.
Yeah, I think they've won 5.
Did you hear
Vrabel?
Did you hear Vrabel talking about it?
No, I didn't actually. I just saw it when I was looking something else up.
He was talking about it. They asked him about why they're wearing the whites and if it had anything to do with them being undefeated. And he goes, I don't want to speak for him. I don't remember his exact quote, but he said something about the tooth fairy as well in his Vrabelisms.
Yeah. Okay. Early money coming in on Seattle. I just looked at it. I know you can look at different places, but the site that I looked at does kind of an overarching. It's not. I know you like to look at MGM because it's easy, but and that's what we use a lot when we're talking about trends. But the money I've seen in the site that I uses a couple different books and puts them together. It was 60% of the tickets and 62% of the money as of this morning. Again, I don't know what it is. You can look it up at MGM as we speak. Is it something similar?
I've got it right here.
I would imagine it's fairly close.
It's not. They don't have them right.
They took it down. They don't want people to know.
Not right now. They've just got.
Okay, so anyway, early money, and I say early. It's not really that early. We've known for over a week now, but it's always kind of what. We're not going to give away our picks. We'll make our picks. Our final pick on Friday is coming up this Friday, and we'll make our picks then. But look, I understand why the money's coming in on Seattle. I understand why the tickets. It's what have you seen lately? Everybody keeps talking about how easy the Patriots' schedule has been and how lucky they have been. And to some extent, they're right. I just don't know what I'm gonna pick yet. But that 4.5 is 5 some places, even at DraftKings, which is the number, where we get our numbers from right now. If any book is out there watching and they want to be the official odds partner of the Dattitude podcast, they're more than welcome to call me. But it's leaning Seattle.
I've got numbers from FanDuel.
Okay.
69% of money on the spread is with Seattle, and 63% of the bets on the spread.
Everybody's betting on Seattle. NH Town is with Seattle, wins big. Defense wins. Sometimes defense wins. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, it just kind of depends.
Can I admit something? Is this a safe space to admit something?
Of course.
I haven't thought a second about this game.
Yeah,
I don't really care about it.
You have an excuse. You have it.
I don't really care about it. I don't know how I'm going to bet it.
Yeah. I think
I agree with what people were saying earlier.
Probably not you're not in the same boat that I was in with the no call, because I hope the Rams
No, I get it.
But you just you're not going to root for the AFC no matter what, and after what happened, and
I would never root for the Patriots.
Yeah. Kind of like rooting for the Chiefs. Who would you root for in a Patriots Chiefs AFC Championship game?
Absolutely the Chiefs.
Yeah. Okay. Who would you root for in a Jaguars Patriots AFC Championship game?
Patriots. I rooted for the Patriots in, what was it, 2017?
What about Jags Colts?
Nuclear bomb. Probably Indianapolis is. Indianapolis is higher on my teams of this that I dislike, but Jacksonville fans are so annoying.
Yeah, they kind of are.
And Indy's won a Super Bowl before, so.
UBN says the Patriots beat 3 of the top 5 defenses in the playoffs. I mean, look, we're going to have our own analysis, but I can tell you this: I just don't feel like my future is going to win. I don't think the Patriots are going to win the game. But the question is, look, this playoff season has been so damn good. How can you? I'm not saying it won't be, but how can you think this is going to be a blowout? I don't know.
I like I said, I haven't thought a second about it.
Charles, Gabe doesn't give one rat's ass about the Falcons, but
no, I do not.
I'm sure you were
although that Super Bowl was extremely fun to watch as a neutral.
Yeah. I had money. I actually was rooting on the Falcons because I had I had money on the spread and on the money line. I ended up winning the spread bet, but obviously not the money line bet. So I was kind of pissed off. I'm like, but then I started laughing. I'm like, if anybody's going to blow a 28-3, you couldn't really understand the significance right after it happened. Like, if any team's going to blow a 28-3 lead. H-Town, in answer to your question, do I trust Sam Darnold or Drake May? I don't trust either one of them. I really don't. I don't trust Sam Darnold at all. I don't think I still don't. I still need to be convinced. I don't think Sam Darnold is good. I just don't. Under. Darryl says under. Maybe under. Maybe.
This total's a little low to play the under to me. I thought it'd be closer to 49.5.
Yeah.
When I was, brainstorming what I thought the lines would be, I was surprised to see it was this low.
Apathy, you are incorrect, sir. Another Arctic blast coming through. That is not true. It is going to be 62 and sunny this weekend. So I'm not sure where you might be looking at last week's news or something. There is no more. In fact, UBN will be happy to hear this when I say this. There might not be any more super cold weather coming anymore for New Orleans. I think we've got tomorrow and the North Shore, it's getting down in the upper 30s, like Wednesday and Thursday. But I know this weekend it's supposed to be sunny and 60 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be a beautiful weekend here in this area. 62. Get a life. Come on, man. All right. Final thoughts here before we close out the show.
I think the NFL should have an international team.
Ugh, you would.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? It's the National Football League. It's not the International Football League.
Okay.
It's the National Football League. That stands for not for long. I'm channeling my inner Jerry Glanville. Not for long if you start bringing in international teams.
I have no problem with them expanding internationally. As long as you do,
I can tell you this.
You do division realignment correctly, I have no problem with it.
I can tell you this. Good luck getting free agents to go to international teams. Good ones.
It depends what country you're in. Some would absolutely do that depending on the country and the tax rates. If you put a team in Spain, no one would go there because of the taxes. But
aren't they super high like in Germany as well and the UK?
UK wouldn't be too bad.
The UK is pretty bad.
Spain taxes its athletes a lot. And that's why you see so many people get in trouble over there.
I just don't think that logistically it would work. And then you're talking about, multiple reasons. Then you're talking about a European team. They'd have to travel here 8 times a year. So, I mean, that's just absurd.
You just do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, stuff like that. It's no different than a flight from New York to Seattle.
I think it's silly. But
it also doesn't have to be in Europe. You could put a team in Mexico.
I wouldn't have as much of a problem with that, or a team in Canada. I certainly wouldn't have as much of a problem with that. Did they even care about American football? I mean, they had their own league.
Canada, yeah, they do.
And
I mean, you know what? You say the National Football League. It's also the National Basketball Association, and they've got the Toronto Raptors, had the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Yeah, but it's NBA. I don't really care.
Now with the MLB, it's not as cookie cutter.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, maybe because I grew up with the Expos and Blue Jays. I don't know. It doesn't bother. I wouldn't mind as much. A Canadian or a Mexican team probably wouldn't bother me all that much.
Yeah.
But forcing people to go to Europe and forcing play. I'm just saying, free agents. I don't think they're not going to want to come over here, do the whole across the pond 8 times a year or even 4 times a year, whatever it is.
You think free agents want to go play in some of the cities that have teams now?
I don't think they care about that.
You think people want to live in Indianapolis?
You think free agents want to spend 9 hours on a plane going somewhere and 9 hours coming back? Or if they're in...
Well, no. It depends, once again, it depends on where you are. It's like a 5.5 hour flight from New York to London.
You're not just going to play the GD Jets and the GD Bills. I mean,
like I said, you have to do realignment correctly, and you would have to do scheduling right.
Yeah,
I think it can be done.
I don't know that it's going to happen in my lifetime. I think it will.
Also,
happen
let's
day.
not. Let's call it for what it is. These guys aren't traveling, coach. They're on souped up airplanes with all the accommodations they need. I don't really care, and they're getting paid millions. I don't really care.
You don't care,
you
but they have the
extra
choice on
hour
whether
or
they
two
want to
to
go
go.
there. If they don't get drafted by said team, you're asked. I
think some would. I think some absolutely would.
there wouldn't be many, and I can tell you right now, the prima donnas, they ain't gonna go over there. You're gonna get crap teams over there. That's just my opinion.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that.
I also don't know about Europeans having enough interest long term. Like, it's one thing to have, oh, cool, we got the NFL coming for 3 or 4 weeks. Tottenham, I live in London and I can go see 3 NFL games a year. I don't know that we go see NFL games every week.
I think in certain cities, yeah, I think London is absolutely one where you could get enough support. Yeah.
Maybe.
Your problem, if you did London, your problem would be you would have to build a specific stadium, or you would have to play all the games in Wembley to not clash with.
I just think that just too much crap going on,
and that was to my point earlier about the Saints.
I don't know that you get everyone to go to Mexico. I don't think. I mean, that's another problem about Mexico. I don't know that you get the interest from Mexicans to want to go to games.
I think you could, but I don't know.
I mean, Kyle's got a point. The mood in Europe will not be welcoming our NFL team right now.
I don't know. I disagree.
So, all right.
I think
anyway,
once again with Khan owning the Jags and an international or in a Premier League team, I think you have an intermediary right there.
I think they're happy doing it the way they're doing it right now.
Maybe they are.
And I also
ramp
think,
up the number of international.
No,
games,
and I think they will. I think at some point, I think you'll start seeing it like from week. You're almost seeing it now, but like from week 3 to 12, there'll be one every week. That's going to happen very soon.
I could see that
very soon. So this is just the next step. Going to Paris is the next step. So, anywho, all right, we will talk to you Wednesday. Our next live show Wednesday at 11 a.m. See you then. I have no idea who our guest is, but I'll put it in a Slack chat.
Final comment.
Go ahead.
Why the hell is the NFL punishing France with the Browns?
Ooh,
if you're going to send the Saints over there, at least give them a good
Saints.
matchup.
I don't.
But yeah, but the Saints are there's some entertainment value
about it is different.
Well, you know what? I apologize. That's Pro Bowler Shador Sanders going over there.
Right.
Watching a Pro Bowl quarterback.
And you're just trying to stir a shit pot like UBN was before. The Hornets have all disappeared. Anyway.
Well, as I pointed out to Charles this morning, with Joe Flacco also being named to the Pro Bowl, that means the Cleveland Browns had 3 Pro Bowlers on roster.
Now you're just trying to stir up my Hornets nest because you know how much it pisses me off. All right. I will see you on Wednesday.
It's good. I'll be here.
To Gabe, he stirred the pot, so I guess I'll get into it a little bit. That's why he asked me this morning. I should ask. This is the poll question. Does anybody know when the Pro Bowl is? I thought it was yesterday, and I just missed it. And I said, who cares? Apparently, it's Tuesday. They're playing the effing Pro Bowl on a Tuesday now. I mean, if you want to just any more proof that nobody gives a rat's ass about the Pro Bowl being played on a Tuesday.
I just want to, I forgot to plug this. We are going to play a fun game on Friday. No cheating to you or UBN, but I am going to take pictures of Super Bowl performers and stack them up against 2 others, and we're going to see if Jim and UBN can correctly identify.
I can tell you that I will pay more attention to that game than I will to the halftime show on Sunday. Just a little heads up.
Yep. It's a fun little game.
I mean, I only watched last year because I was forced to and I was sitting in my seat.
I think it'll produce some laughs.
All right. See you Wednesday. Well, y'all can't wait for that game. Gabe's going to put together. That's right. We're doing it. We're being a part of it. He is going to put together a photo montage. He's going to put together a photo montage of recent halftime performers. And we're going to have to guess who they are. And I'm going to say, I don't care, 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 I don't care. Bruno Mars, I don't care. That's going to be it. H-Town wants to know, what do I think about the Saints drafting the best defensive player with the... Didn't you hear me? Oh, you weren't here when I talked about this. I'm sorry. You're right. I did. You weren't here earlier when I talked about this. Absolutely no. You will want to watch the live show we have, because we're going to have a live show for the draft. Gabe and I are doing a live show in the draft, and I'm sure you'll be on. I'll be on at some point, and maybe who knows who else. If the Saints draft a defensive player with the 8th pick of the NFL draft, you will want to watch me go the F off. I'm telling you now. It will happen. I'm telling you. Wait, people performing this year? How the hell do I know who's performing? The only person I know performing is Bad Bunny. There are other people performing. Dude, you're wasting your time. I don't know who they are. I know what Bad Bunny looks like. That's it. Only because I've seen him recently in post. I don't know who's playing. I thought you meant like recent. I mean, I probably don't know what Kendrick. You put Kendrick Lamar on my screen, and you put three random people on the screen, and one of them is Kendrick Lamar. I probably wouldn't be able to tell you who it was. I'd have a 33.3% chance of guessing it. Brandy Carlisle is doing that. Who the hell is Brandy Carlisle? No, I know who Green Day is. I mean, I'm old. Of course I know Green Day. I mean, H-Town. No. You draft Jeremiah Love if he's there at 8. Period. Sav, you wouldn't mind drafting an edge rusher. I wouldn't mind sticking a sharp pencil into my eye socket. No. Daryl, thank you so much. Comment of the day. Hitting love the subscribe buttons. Join membership if you can. He says he's joining soon. We would love to have you. There you go. That's our segue out of here. Oh, I got one more. Jimmy Rosen's the newest member of the Dattitude family. Thank you so much, Jimmy. We appreciate your support. If you send me an email, jim@jimderry.com, I will send you a link to get into our members only Slack channel, and you can message along with us. Thank you, Jimmy, and thanks to everyone else who has supported this channel. If you would like to become a member and support my independent drive to become how do I put this? If you would like to support my journey as an independent and help this channel last into Netherland and help me find a way to pay Gabe, then become a member of the Dattitude podcast. We would appreciate it. And if you just want to support us by coming and watching the show and give us a thumbs up and a like and whatever else, and being a member of just being a subscriber, that's okay too. We love that too. Father Steve says we need to go back to YouTube, Prince, or Michael Jackson type halftime shows. They're not gonna. They're trying. They use this to draw younger people in. I understand why they do it. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. See, there you go. YouTube sucks. That is the Gabe. I'm not going to award it to you, but that is on the cusp of dumbass of the week territory right there, my friend. Should we do it? Should we do dumbass? No, I'm not going to do it. It's close. Close. When you say YouTube sucks, that's pretty close. The dumbass of the week. Just saying. All right, that's enough for today. We're already on about 39 minutes long. See, every time I tell Gabe, I was dead serious this morning. Sometimes I say this and I'm like, nah, it's never going to happen. But I was really serious. When I told him, I don't know how long, I'm not going to talk beyond like when people are listening anymore. So if we get to an hour and nobody cares anymore, we're going to say bye-bye. So I didn't know if the show would last an hour. I said, I don't know if it's going to last an hour and a half. Turns out it lasted an hour and 40 minutes. Again, thanks to not just Jimmy, but all the members. And I got a little treat for you coming up in the next, I don't know if it's going to be this week or if I'm just going to start it with the new season, but I'm going to have a little ticker that goes underneath. And we're going to have, Gabe and I have been talking about this. We're going to have 2 different tickers, okay? You know, the little crawls across the bottom of the screen. And one of the crawls is going to be our members. We're going to give our members love. All the members' names will be on the crawl at the bottom of the screen. We're going to do that along with whatever the top news is. I'm probably going to take off our headlines in season 6. So just give you a little heads up of what's coming up. And if you're a Dattitude member, you will get some prominent love here on Dattitude, as you usually do anyway. Gabe says Joshua Tree was a good album. Come on, man. It's like saying Whitney Houston was a good singer. Don't get me started. Don't. I'm trying to go bye-bye and say, Lance is in here. You're wasting your breath, UBN. This Derek Carr loves you too. How do you know? All right, that will wrap it up for us on this Monday. I want to thank today's guest. Well, you were our guest today because it's Mano E Monday. Of course, Gabe was just stirring up a hornet's nest. Speaking of that, the Pels play the Hornet. I never even got to show my Hornet slide that I made. So there it is. The Pels are, by the way, you'll notice that the Pels are no longer dead last in the West. They are second to last, baby. They have moved ahead of the sinking and struggling and going bye-bye Sacramento Kings. The Pels are 13-38. Woohoo! Just saying. Next 3 games. This afternoon against the Charlotte Hornets. That's right. This afternoon against the Charlotte Hornets. Wednesday at Milwaukee. Friday at Minnesota as they continue their carnival trip. That's where they are. There's your Pelicans segment of the day. We will have segments for the Pelicans in regular portions of the show coming up. A reminder to subscribe again to our Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live, which is normally Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time. If you would just rather listen, you can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. UBN's happy to say only a couple more days of super cold, and then we get right back to our regular selves. You can actually go outside in shorts coming up before too long. That's what they all say. We'll see. Anyway, until Wednesday, you know what I'm going to say. Take it easy, my friends.